Welcome. Today, we're looking at something pretty fascinating. It's a modern guide to the 48 laws of power,
Hmm.
and it's written specifically for men who want to build, real influence, not just power for power's sake, but the kind that's built on trust and integrity.
Right.
So, just to be clear, we are not here to debate the morality of the original book.
Well,
We're using this guide as a filter, really, to pull out the practical advice that actually works today. Our mission is to give you a shortcut.
yep.
We're going to identify the laws that build you up and pinpoint the ones that will absolutely blow up in your face.
And that's the key, right?
Yeah.
The guide we reviewed has a really strong thesis on this.
What's that?
It argues that you have to treat these laws as a navigation guide, not as a weapon.
I'm a navigation guide.
Exactly. You use them to read a room, to understand when a boundary is crossed, to protect your reputation. That's smart.
But not to control people.
That's the line. The moment you use them to deceive or manipulate, that's where modern power just completely falls apart.
Okay, so let's get into it. The guide pulls out this core strategic toolkit, 10 laws that are foundational.
Right.
Let's start with the one that feels the most counterintuitive, especially in a competitive workplace. Law 1, never outshine the master.
It does sound like you're supposed to sabotage yourself, doesn't it?
A little bit, yeah.
But the guide reframes it as high-level ego management. Look, if you have an insecure boss, and a lot of us do, the safest play is to give them your best ideas in private.
So they feel like they're in control.
Exactly. They feel secure. Then, when the idea succeeds, you credit the whole team publicly.
But hold on, doesn't that just set you up to get your ideas stolen? You're not getting the recognition.
You might be sacrificing the short-term praise, yeah, but what you're getting is long-term safety, survival.
You're not making yourself a target.
You're not. The alternative is you shine too bright, the insecure boss feels threatened, and suddenly you're sidelined. You're playing the long game.
Speaking of the long game, that flows right into Law 5. Guard your reputation.
Oh, this one is absolutely critical today. The source frames reputation as your currency of trust.
Okay.
If you're known for being reliable, for delivering, people just trust you more. Promotions come faster.
And the guide's examples are pretty simple for this, right?
Super simple but powerful. Avoid office gossip like it's radioactive. Don't get into pointless fights online.
Yeah.
Every single time you engage in that drama, you are spending reputation capital that you can't get back.
So if you're being quiet and reliable to protect your reputation, how do you get noticed? You can't just be invisible.
And that's where Law 6 comes in. Core detention, but strategically.
Visibility without the noise.
That's it. Quality over quantity. The advice is, don't be the person who talks the most in a meeting. Speak once. But when you do, speak with clarity. Share results, not drama. You want to be remembered for your impact.
Not for the volume of your contributions. That idea of quiet impact ties into Law 4, doesn't it? Always say less than necessary.
It really does. This one is all about preventing yourself from giving away too much. You let your emotions get the better of you, you start talking.
And you say something you regret, or you give away leverage in a negotiation.
Exactly. The guide has a great example of that. You make your point in a negotiation, and then you just stop talking. Silence.
And the other person feels they have to fill it?
They do. And they often fill it by giving something up.
Yeah.
You maintain control by being a little ambiguous.
It's about conserving your power. Which brings us to another one, Law 9. Win through your actions, never through argument.
Such a classic trap. People think if they win the intellectual debate in the room, they've won.
But they've just made enemies.
They've created resentment. Even if you're 100% right, arguing just puts people on the defensive.
So what's the action-based fix? Someone's pushing back on your idea.
You stop talking and you start doing. Instead of arguing for an hour about why your code is better, you spend that hour building a small working prototype.
You let the results do the talking.
Let the results end the argument. It's about being effective, not just being right.
Let's shift to relationships. Law 11, learn to keep people dependent on you. Now this one sounds really manipulative.
It can be. But the ethical filter here is key. The guide reinterprets it. It's not about sabotage.
So what is it about?
It's about becoming irreplaceable through unique competence. You invest in a skill that nobody else on your team has.
You become the go-to person.
The essential pivot point for something important. That dependency is your job security. It's your leverage.
Okay, that reframing is really useful. So when you need something from those people, we have Law 13. Appeal to people's self-interest.
Pure pragmatism. Don't call in a favor from last year.
Because that creates resentment.
It does. It feels like a debt. Instead, you frame your request around how it benefits them. If you help with this, it'll look great on your performance review.
You stop being a problem for them and start being an opportunity.
Exactly.
What about when you succeed? Law 30. Make your accomplishments seem effortless. Why is that important?
Because nobody likes the person who is constantly complaining about how hard they're working.
The martyr.
The martyr, yeah. Visible struggle actually reduces your perceived authority. A master makes it look easy.
So you hide the stress.
You hide the anxiety, yes. Yeah. You present the results with calm confidence. It projects innate competence, not just hard work.
Then there's Law 28, interaction with boldness. This feels like the opposite of hesitation.
It is. This is about execution.
Yeah.
When you pitch an idea, you do it decisively. You don't start with apologies or this might be a stupid idea, but
You lose credibility before you even start.
instantly. You have to walk in assuming success. Now, the guide is clear. This isn't recklessness.
Right.
You do your homework cautiously, but you execute bravely. The boldness is in the delivery.
And that brings us to last of the core 10, Law 48. Be formless. This isn't about having no principles, right?
Not at all. It's about tactical adaptation. It means you can be calm with a client, firm on a deadline with your team, and flexible when the market suddenly changes.
You change your approach without losing your core values.
If you're too rigid in a volatile world, you just break. Being formless is about survival.
Okay, so that's the toolkit. But this is where it gets really interesting because the guide says the rules change completely depending on the context.
Oh, massively. This is probably the most important part of the whole modern interpretation.
You can't use the same playbook at work as you do in your personal life.
Absolutely not. The guide says using workplace power tactics like secrecy, controlling options in your personal relationships will destroy intimacy. It's toxic.
And the reverse is also true. Too much emotional vulnerability at work can be a liability.
You have to know which rulebook to use.
So let's start with the workplace playbook. Law 19. Know who you're dealing with.
It's about adapting your communication style. You can't talk to everyone the same way.
So an example would be,
Well, if your boss is very political, you have to be diplomatic. But if you have a very direct, data-driven leader, you just give them the numbers, charm won't work.
and if you understand their personality, you can then figure out their motivations. Law 33.
Right. Discover people's motivations. And this is about incentives, not emotions. Strategic empathy.
What does that look like in practice?
So you notice a teammate always wants public recognition. They just thrive on it. So when you have a shared win, you go out of your way to give them public credit.
You're aligning with their core driver.
You're building a powerful ally because you're giving them what they actually want, not just what they say they want.
That's a great positive spin. What about Law 31, control the options? That sounds a little more controlling.
It's more about efficiency. Instead of asking an open-ended question like, when should we do this? Which can lead to endless debate.
You frame the choice.
You frame it, should we deliver this on Friday or Monday? You're still in control of the timeline, but they feel like they have a choice. It just reduces friction.
And finally, for the workplace, Law 40, despise the free lunch.
This is all about boundaries, valuing your time.
The yes man problem.
Exactly. If you're always taking on extra work for free, with no credit, you're teaching people that your time isn't valuable. You become a resource to be exploited.
Okay, so let's flip it. Let's go to the personal side. The guide has a golden rule for this.
It does, and it's non-negotiable. Power tactics belong at work. Full stop. Not in love, not in dating.
So how do you use these laws ethically in your personal life?
You use them for internal work, to build confidence and set boundaries, never to control someone else.
So Law 34, act like a king. What does that become?
It becomes self-respect. It's about your internal state, a calm voice, firm boundaries on your time, not begging for attention.
It's about your own approval of yourself.
That's it. It's not dependent on anyone else, and that is naturally attractive.
What about Law 25, recreate yourself?
In a personal context, that's just continuous self-improvement. Hitting the gym, learning to communicate better, developing emotional maturity.
You're building a better version of yourself, for yourself.
And that naturally attracts better relationships.
And finally, Law 28, boldness. Here it translates to confidence over tricks.
100%. The guide is very clear. No mixed signals, no playing hard to get. That's insecurity.
Boldness is honesty.
Boldness is being clear with your intentions and respecting the other person enough to tell them the truth. That's real confidence.
This brings us to a really critical part of this, the red flags. The laws the guide says you should just ignore.
Avoid at all costs.
Top of the list, Law 15, crush your enemy. Totally. This just sounds like a terrible idea.
It's a disaster waiting to happen. It invites escalation, legal problems, career suicide. The guide says revenge is a distraction, not power.
So what's the better approach?
Create distance. Document everything for your own protection. And then just outgrow the conflict. Let your success be the only response.
And there's Law 3, conceal your intentions. We said saying less is good, so why is this one on the avoid list?
Because in a modern, high-trust team, constant secrecy just makes you look shady.
Untrustworthy.
And inefficient. If your team doesn't know the goal, how can they help you? The guide says be transparent with strategy where it's needed.
And what about Law 7, get others to do the work?
This is a modern minefield. Delegation is one thing, but just dumping your work on junior staff and then taking all the credit.
Your team will turn on you so fast.
But instantly. The fix is simple. Delegate ethically, mentor them, and share the credit. Generously.
You know, what's interesting is that all those red flags, they point to a lack of emotional intelligence.
That is the core of it. And that leads to the biggest mistakes the guide points out.
Okay, let's run through them. The top mistake.
Using the book to manipulate everyone. Treating people like chess pieces just doesn't work.
People feel it.
They feel it, and they will ice you out. The fix is to use the book to read situations, not to control people.
Second mistake. Applying power laws in dating.
The mind games. It just creates toxic relationships. The fix is simple. Confidence and honesty.
Next, forgetting how fragile reputation is.
Yep, getting into petty office fights. The fix is to stay calm, choose your battles, and remember that just outperforming the problem is often the best move.
And maybe the biggest one. Using the book without emotional intelligence.
Strategy without empathy is it's just bullying. Creates enemies you don't need. You have to combine strategy with listening and restraint.
And the final mistake, the moral one, is losing your values for power.
Justifying bad behavior as strategy. The guide is crystal clear on this. Your strategy should protect your values, not erase them.
So when we put this all together, what's the ultimate takeaway for you? The guide positions this book not as a villain's handbook.
No, not at all. It's a toolkit for self-control and external awareness.
It's about understanding the world around you.
Right. And the final truth from the source material is powerful. It says the approach works best when you are quietly strategic and openly respectful.
Calm authority.
You build calm authority, you protect your time, you read the politics, but you don't play nasty games. It's all about sustainable, long-term influence.
And that really is the bottom line. The sources warn over and over against that ego-driven need to win every single interaction. That's a short-term game with long-term losses. So here's something to think about. How might focusing on long-term positioning over a short-term victory change the way you approach your very next professional decision? We'll leave you with that until our next deep dive.